Welcome in, Web Warriors. Spider Miller here. We are officially looking at the Dart Zone Pro Mark IV. Now, keep in mind, it has been quite a while since the last time I used one of these, and now I own one, and I just kind of want to start talking about it.
Hey guys, Editing Spider Miller here. As you watch this little sped up unboxing, what you get with the Mark IV is the blaster itself. You get its longer barrel, you get a included scar barrel, which you can just shove into the stock, 30 of the Dart Zone Bamboo 2X darts, you get 2 magazines, you get a pair of safety goggles if you really want them, you get a weaker spring and a stronger spring already installed in the blaster, and then you get 2 pop-up sights, and then you get a little pamphlet of instructions if you need them to figure out how this blaster works, which it's pretty self-explanatory.
Quickly going over the blaster in a little bit more detail. Up front, we do have a long kind of faux barrel, but it does have a metal compression barrel into it, and you can just take it off like that. There's really no reason to take this off except if you're going to put the included scar muzzle in, but there's not really a reason to do that. The only problem is this gives you a lot of performance. The main blaster does have somewhat of a barrel, but this is what really amps it up. It's kind of like how the Dart Zone Deuce Pro was. It's very similar to that with the locking system and how the barrel works. But for most people, you just kind of want to keep that on, even though there's not really a pure reason you like it, unless you like long boys, I guess. I don't really know what to say. Down below, we have this very weird priming foregrip. It's weird how this works and how comfy it is because you could hold it like this. You could put your finger right here. You can kind of cup it right here or put right here. It's very weird. But this is also how you prime the blaster, and check this out. And that's what the strongest spring in this blaster. What is so surprising about this blaster is how easy it is to prime. And there's even a method that you can do that I have finally been happy to discover. Also, again, pretty good air seal. And that's you take the blaster like this, and it's better to do this with the weak spring, but I did find out you can do it with this one. Let's just hope I can do it for the camera. And you primed it. It's essentially the shotgun style, which is so much fun. Then up top, we do have our included iron sights, which are kind of in the vague of a grenade launcher sight, and they're pretty decent sights. They're not like night and day, like phenomenal. They're just basic. The back one does adjust on the side, and this is for like wind elevation, I think. So like obviously like you can adjust it to your height. I've found it kind of better if you just put it down, but these can just flip down if you want to, and they have a cool feature on the side to where you can just really cool. I like these kind of sites that do that. They're just really cool. But if you don't like them, you can just take them off. And then on top, you have the Dart Zone style Picatinny rail. You can mount airsoft attachments to this. And obviously, I think the best way to put it, this isn't entirely a normal Picatinny rail, I think is the way that I've heard it described. But it works like one. And then actually, we do have a little unjamming button down up here. So after you prime the blaster, you're obviously not able to prime it again, but pulling this back allows you to deprime the blaster. Now, this can also allow you to shotgun. It is a little finicky though, and the priming weight is smooth, but it does cause a few issues if you do try to shotgun load, which we will get into. And then down below, we do have the magazine well. To remove the magazine, you can just strike the flappy paddle right here. It is a little far uncomfortable to do it. You can do it with your like firing hand, but the weirder thing about this blaster is it has somewhat of a skinny pusher, but it doesn't, because right there you think it's locked in, but you have to actually push that in a little more. Then taking it out isn't very smooth. But oddly enough, when the blaster is primed back, it's smooth, and then you could even gravity drop it at that point, which is kind of nice. It's interesting. And then going over the magazine, this is the included 15 round magazine. The blaster comes with 2 of them, and these are solid magazines. I've heard so much praise about these magazines, and I could actually feel it. They feel good, and the plastic quality is good. But this is compatible if you were wanting to with normal Worker Talon mags. And it has the same issue. It doesn't really change, but this does I wouldn't recommend you keep doing that because this will stress out the feed lips eventually. But normal Talon mags will work, and then all the other Dart Zone mags will work. I prefer getting Talons anyway, and hopefully I should soon, so you won't have to see this guy over and over again. And then back behind, we do have a trigger safety. When it's protruding on this side, I cannot pull the trigger. Push it in, and I can't pull the trigger. It's a basic trigger safety. You know what this does. Almost all Dart Zone blasters have it, and all high-powered blasters have it. Now let's get back to the grip, which is very comfortable. So one, it not only has this rubber sleeve, but it's just overall a good, comfy grip. It's good for adult-sized hands, but a child's hand could fit on this, but this isn't really a blaster made for children. This thing shoots at about over 200 FPS, so keep your children away from it. But like I said, it's very basic, and it's overall very comfy, and the overall weight of the blaster, it does get a little tiring, but this isn't really a blaster you want to hold with one hand. It's better to hold this with two hands. So that's an obvious statement. Up above, we do have the freaking metal plunger tube, which feels awesome. And then back behind, we do have the stock. Now, this is technically a removable stock, but it's also not. So you remove these two screws, and you're able to take the stock off like it's an N-strike stock attachment point. But that's also how you can service the spring inside. And a cool feature about this is, as you see, it's transparent. So when you prime it, you actually see the spring getting compressed, and then you can also see it release, which is awesome. It's a feature that I love, that this kind of took from like the Caliburn or any 3D printed blaster that has a clear plunger tube, or not really a plunger tube. It's kind of like a rest. I don't know how to describe it, but it's cool. And surprising enough, like the stock length, again, you would think that this is uncomfortable. It's actually not. Like, it actually is at a good length, and I'm kind of surprised by that. But also what's weird is, again, I'm not that tall of a guy. I'm about 5'11" in height, and oddly enough, the blaster fits me well. Like, I was actually surprised. Now, obviously, your hands do get tired if it's out this long, but this also helps to stabilize the blaster, because mostly with a lot of blasters, you're going to be wanting to grip it up here for more stability, so it does kind of help you train for that, but it can get tiring. And then the back, obviously, we do have a rubber butt plate, which you can take off and then take out the included SCAR barrel. Now, the tricky thing about this SCAR barrel is I think this one only works with this blaster. This is a kind of a carbon clone of the worker SCAR barrel, but it does fit in there like this. It's just a friction fit, and this does increase your accuracy. However, the problem is, without the barrel extension, this doesn't perform very great. It performs, I think, at like a little over 100 FPS. So it would make more sense to have it up here, but you can't do that without modification, which is a little strange. And it's okay, but obviously it has some flaws. But that's a full-on external overview. Now let's show you this thing firing. Starting with the included Bamboo 2X darts. Now shooting some Worker Gen 3 Halfling darts out of a Talon 18-round mag, some with the long barrel extension and some with the SCAR barrel.
you don't need the scar barrel, but I'm gonna put it on anyway. Should have left the scar barrel off.
So through this blaster over the chronograph and with the included Bamboo 2X darts, I was getting an average of about 210 per second, which is really what the box advertised, and it's honestly incredible. This thing can shoot up to 200 FPS. And then I threw worker darts over the chronograph, and I was getting an average of about 180. Now this isn't the most consistent blaster in the world, but it worked out in the end over time, and honestly, still amazing numbers out of a blaster like this. And you can get that to go higher. I do know you can get this blaster, I think, up to about 300 feet per second, but it takes modification to do that. I mean, overall, like, this is still a phenomenal blaster. Like, this thing, it feels and works really well. And again, I can't get over that pump action smoothness because it just feels phenomenal. Like, I cannot describe like how like amazing it truly feels because it's so weird. Like, I thought I got used to the Harrier smoothness. The fact that it is pinky primable with its strongest spring is absolutely incredible. It feels amazing. Now, obviously, I know this thing is compared to the Worker Swift, and that is more just it kind of to me it depends on your preference. The Worker Swift obviously is built a lot better with a lot more reinforced internals. Obviously, Dart Zone can only do so much, and they can do better. But even with that, this is still a phenomenal blaster. I think for me personally, even though I have not held or used a Swift before, I do like the way this blaster looks more than the Swift, and that just comes from a little personal preference. But again, it's just really that more comes down to cosmetics. However, if I was going to be using either of them, I'd go obviously with the Swift or now the Harrier, my baby. But the only real complaints I have about this blaster specifically is again kind of the whole issue with the Scar barrel not being compatible in the way that it should be, because with the barrel extended, it does shoot over 200 FPS, and over 200 FPS, you do need a Scar to stabilize it. But again, it's if you have, I guess, in that kind of sense, if you have the right darts, obviously it doesn't matter, but still. And the only other complaint I really have is I have jammed this thing quite a few times, and the jams are kind of susceptible to human error, but it's really weird. So obviously the prime is very smooth, but as you can see there, it's not fully catching. And the problem with that is you have to make sure it's actually back and then forward, because if you short stroke it just a little bit, you're going to get darts stuck in there. Like, I think during my testing procedure, I've gotten like 6 darts stuck in there. And again, it's mostly the issue of you prime it back, you have to make sure you get it that extra little inch, because this is very smooth, but it's not catching. And if you do that multiple times, you're going to get a dart stuck in the barrel, and then it takes a while to actually get it out. So then all you can do is just really prime and fire, prime and fire, prime and fire until the dart leaves. So I'd be precautious of that. And again, just remember, always pull back until you hear that click and then return. Do not try it again, otherwise you will jam the blaster. And really, the blaster more or less like is very fun. Now, of course, when it comes to whether or not you want it or not, or where you can use it, you obviously need to think about the velocity that you're shooting at. This thing is designed to be shooting over 200 FPS, but if you lower the spring, it doesn't really work the best because the performance is laughably low. And the problem with it is that with the shortest spring or the weakest spring, it doesn't really help it as much, because again, it just shoots like very laughable numbers. Like, again, like it shoots about, I think, 90 or so FPS, or I think I've even gotten it low to like 70, literally elite ranges. So obviously, just think about all those, and then obviously, again, this is designed for like high competitive play. This isn't for something like HVZ. This is something that you would want to take to like End War or something like that, because obviously it shoots far and it could go very far. Let this footage play over of the first time I ever used a Dart Zone Pro Mark IV. this was from like my very first Nerf game ever, where I met a lot of really cool people, and then obviously where I first got to talk with Dart Zone, and I remember using that. That was you, in the background. There was some buddies of mine who were like saying, "I can't even see where they're landing," but you would have to like actually zoom in because they were going ridiculously far, and it's overall like just amazing. But again, that's really all I have to say about the Mark IV and whether or not I think you should purchase this or not. Of course, first thing, obviously, you need to think about the velocity that you're shooting at, but I would say, yeah. Again, I do think a Worker Swift will do you much better, or in my case now, a Worker Harrier will do you a lot better because the Worker Harrier is beautiful. But really, you also just my biggest thing against buying this blaster is you need to think about your body type because you cannot really use this if you are under 6 foot. I'm 5'11 and it's pushing it, but I can still use it. But really, look at your body type and understand that this is a long blaster. If I put this thing on the floor, it comes up to my stomach. And that doesn't look very tall because I am a little taller than average, but not by much. When you actually have this thing in your hand and you can't reach the priming handle, you are going to have to question on whether or not you can actually wield this blaster. But that's all I got for you. I'm Spider Avenger Miller. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you happen to like what I do here, please like, hit subscribe, and leave a comment telling me what you like. And I will be seeing you in the next one. Much love, blast on, and stay tactical.